Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we have a super cool episode that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you. History of the DC Universe, Book 1 and 2 by Marv Wolfman and George Pérez. Inks by Karl Kesel. An amazingly beautiful book, the follow-up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. Okay, so George Pérez and Marv Wolfman did Crisis on Infinite Earths together. The historic for many reasons. One of the first sort of, miniseries weren't super popular at the time, especially maxi series. So it was like a 12-issue maxi series that was set up to restart the continuity of the DC universe, and basically you have to break something before you make it, I guess. So they ended the DC universe, restarted the continuity, and so I guess since they are the ones who end it, it's only fitting that they should start it again. So after Crisis, DC released this two-part bookshelf format series, which was like, I'm not sure, this is probably 48 pages, maybe. But, the nice paper, the more expensive, the better quality printing. It's kind of amazing. So this is basically, okay, so everything as we know is over. We're restarting. We're getting rid of every weird thing in continuity that we don't want anymore. No more super monkeys or whatever wacky stuff from DC's history. Like, they thought it would be too convoluted, so this is their solution. And I was along for the ride, whatever. I didn't have a lot invested in DC at the time. I was more of a Marvel person, so a Marvel zombie kid. But I did, quickly fall in love and eat up DC, but I wasn't, beholden to its history. So I'm like, whatever they want to throw at me is cool. Looking back at it, was it a mistake? Possibly. I don't know. Was it a mistake to have Crisis on Infinite Earths? It seems to have kicked off an unending cycle of sort of restarting continuity, and I think they kind of get mired in it. It's just like, screw continuity. You have I don't know how many years at this point, 80 plus years of publishing history. It's like, just use the fundamental core of who the characters are and tell great stories. And I think that's the beauty of where DC should be. And I don't know, are we headed towards another relaunch at this point? Who cares? So this is such a great book. So basically it's telling sort of the history of the DC universe, to sort of say where it's at as we're moving forward. I thought it was interesting because John Byrne did Superman's Man of Steel limited series, and that sort of retold his origin, but then it led to him doing Superman, and it's sort of like Superman has already been established. But I was kind of thinking about that even in the inception of all superheroes. It's like the first issue of I guess Action Comics or whatever. Superman's already established. It's like, you seldom come in at the ground floor with these superheroes. I love this cover for a lot of different reasons, because George Pérez is just such one of my favorite comic book artists, one of the most influential comic book artists in comic book history. I still mourn his loss. I definitely see him as one of my influences on my art when I was younger, and I just loved his art so much, specifically the Teen Titans, and I just loved everything he did. And I think this is such a great showcase of his art on this cover. I love how they've used the title to just sort of become the panels of the comic books and have all this great art behind it. And I mean, George Pérez, like my other favorite comic book artist, John Byrne, is sort of one of those artists who it's very exciting to see him draw. He can draw everybody very well, and it's always exciting to see him draw any character from Marvel or DC. Great shot of Harbinger here, a character that Pérez himself designed, co-created with Marv Wolfman for the Crisis on Infinite Earths series. So we have History of the DC Universe here. Marv Wolfman writer, George Pérez penciler, Karl Kesel anchor, Tom Zioku colorist, and Mike Gold editor. I thought that Karl Kesel was a good choice as an inker. I love his inks. He's very I feel like he's definitely one of those inkers who always elevates the people that he inks, and he does have kind of a specific style and a very slick professional, many techniques, kind of Terry Austin Arsenal kind of way. I like that it was, I mean, what I thought, I was thinking about this earlier. I haven't looked at this book in forever, but it's kind of amazing to me that Pérez had the wherewithal to come together on the art with this, because it's pretty lengthy, but I guess, you know, coming off of Crisis on Infinite Earths, 12 issues, at least I think 3 double-sized issues and monthly, and like that's just crazy. But the difference here is like there's a lot of collage-y kind of stuff going on, and it's a lot more history book format with like text with pictures, and I think it's less sequential, which is, I feel, perhaps maybe flexing different artistic muscles. Although this is the same stuff. I mean, oh my god, but it's gorgeous freaking art, and I really do appreciate Karl Kesel's inks in here. You know, on Crisis on Infinite Earths, we had a lot of different inkers. Not a lot, but, you know, like Dick Giordano and Mike DiCarlo. I wasn't crazy about the inks in the beginning, and then it really did look great when Jerry Ordway took over. But Jerry Ordway does bring a very specific look. I thought it was such a great pairing. And I feel like this is one of the few times that Karl Kesel inked Pérez, and I just think, I mean, you can see yourself, like, how sublime and beautiful it is. And Tom Zioko's colors are very good, too. You know, this format is kind of new at this time, and especially for an artist like Pérez, who is, you know, normally being printed on newsprint monthly, and so I think it's a great showcase to show off someone's art in this fashion. And this is just done really well. Like, I love all the detail, and just Pariah, the character from Crisis. It's always fun to revisit these memories. I always loved when Pérez gets kind of artistic in a way. I think he might be using like a charcoal pencil or something different here. Very fun. I would love to see the black and white art of this, of course. I'm sure it's freaking amazing. You know, it's a shame DC isn't too into doing like the artist editions with IDW. I feel like, I don't know if it's what their reasoning behind it is. Like, if they just don't want to, you know, shill out their properties for other publishing houses, they need to rethink that, or they need to start doing that themselves, because this would be gorgeous. Like a Crisis on Infinite Earths artist edition with like the history of the DC universe attached to it. Freaking amazing would that be? Like, how cool is this Medusa? I love it. I almost wish this was kind of like the Medusa that he would use in Wonder Woman, after he would launch Wonder Woman after that, because that is such a cool looking freaking Medusa. Not that I didn't love like the Gorgon or whatever he brought to Wonder Woman. It was all great. Love that. Arian, Eric, Warlord, all those cool, fun characters. Just like, and seeing Pérez draw any of the characters, Black Adam, how fun and timely. Pérez just draws great space and planets and interstellar stuff. And check this out. This is so cool. I remember thinking how scandalous this was, because we got like, you know, a naked butt in there. But this is like direct market. They're not beholden to the comics code. So I felt DC was a little more edgy with their use of the word like damn and hell and the Titans, and apparently naked butts. I mean, I guess naked butts appear here and there in comic books. But, you know, the schlong is always more controversial. Like the Bat Wang or Spider Wang or whatever. Dr. Manhattan, the Big Blue Wang. This character with no wang. What's his name again? Oran. I did kind of love like the Omega Men design. I never really read the Omega Men, but I was aware of them, of course, through their Titans Association, and I always thought it was fun. I mean, the artistry and the layout, and just like, I feel like Pérez, you know, is just so multifaceted as an artist, because he's such a great, competent storyteller and superhero artist. But then, you know, he just is always bringing something new and fresh with his layouts and the page design. And, you know, it's funny. I feel like Kirby is definitely one of Perez's influences, and you can see it a lot and his earlier art, especially, the figures were much more like blockier and big, like sort of a Kirby. And I think that was definitely, you know, what he was going for. And I think that with artists like him and John Byrne, who are, you know, Kirby disciples, and Kirby was their influence, you can always see the Kirby more when they draw Kirby created characters. See, I just love the design and layout. As beautiful as the color is, I still want to see this in black and white, and I almost want to see it recolored. There has to have been like a trade paperback or a new printing of this, I'm sure, you know, like if only there was some sort of search engine like Google I could use to get the answers to these questions, but alas, I'll be forever in the dark. I'm just kidding. I'll Google it after I record. Love this. Love seeing Pérez draw like a Dracula. What was his name? Blood or something? Eye Vampire. Do you see it? Like, that's reminding me of some fun. I love this here, like how this flag is done in like a zipatone color in the back with that color hold. There's a lot of beautiful art in these two books here. So I think the second book gets more exciting because this is like, you know, we'll get more into like the modern superheroes, which is what we're here for, right, everybody? You know it, but we're also here for this beautiful Pérez art. This is such a great, like, I would love to point out the beauty of this double page spread because, you know, as people like to point out, and rightly so, you know, when you're doing silhouettes in comic books, oftentimes it is a time-saving device. However, it can be so effective and beautiful. I mean, the use of negative space here is completely beautiful. I'm getting Alex Toth vibes all over the place. And it's kind of refreshing and fun to see Pérez do something like that. Because, you know, we do know how insanely detailed Pérez's art could be. And he's extremely capable of drawing every single propeller on every one of these planes. But it's just kind of a cool page spread, double page spread. Brother Blood, as we get like every brick in Brother Blood's temple here to illustrate my point. It's kind of fun and interesting. But once again, I mean, I like it because I feel like it was kind of like, you know, next level coloring, especially at the time compared to like the flat, you know, offset printing or whatever they would call it. But still, I kind of like in Pérez and like Byrne and classic comic book artists, like I'm never dying to see them like overly computerly colored because sometimes they think the rendering and shading is like way off and just does not look good. So I guess this is coming after Byrne's Man of Steel miniseries, or unless he just had privy to the design of it. That is so cool and classic. In a way, it's weird. I don't know, like the whole Kryptonian like redesign like just seems so weird to me at first, you know, even though it was by Byrne and I love Byrne, but it felt like he went so like alien in a way. I don't know. What do you think? Fun, nonetheless. Oh, that's disturbing, eh? I'm not even gonna say nothing about that. And then we get this gorgeous, like clear shout out to Kirby with like the Kirby, you know, like, what do they call that? You know, machinery kind of thing there, and the Kirby dots. Love that so much. So great. See, Pérez can draw a fleet of ships. And there it is, Dollman. I love Dollman. I would love to like work on that character. Is he, he's got to become in public domain, don't you think? I feel like somebody had mentioned that like the Charlton characters are low-key public domain, but DC like is trying to like hang on to their copyright. That's why they sometimes, I don't know. I need to look further into that. I remember like just like being so blown up, like because Pérez, especially during this point, like at this coming out was probably my absolute favorite artist, and I just remember being blown away by so many things, like the perspective on this panel and just like the effect and the Dr. Fate mask here, and just I love the Spectre's face, and everything looks exactly the way it should be, and I love this Atom. This gift in particular Like, even though Crisis is so amazing and stuff, this is sort of like the Cliff's Notes Crisis in a way, because it gives you like glimpses of everyone in the DC universe. This is so fun. I love that. It's like such Legion of Doom's superhero vibes, because I love Solomon Grundy. And how fun was Solomon Grundy like in Infinity Inc? Oh my god, I cannot wait. I hope Infinity Inc comes up in my collection soon, because that was like living for that. Speaking of Jerry Ordway and his beautiful art. I mean, come on. What a great panel. I mean, like, some artists will never ever draw something this cool in their entire life, and this is just like the tip of the iceberg for an artist as prolific and as amazing. And I love Black Condor too. It's just wonderful as George Pérez. And once again, like, hello Joe Kubert. That is so cool. I love that. See, that's what I like. I like to see that kind of influence coming through when, you know, you're drawing a character that another artist is totally known for, and it's still obviously Pérez, but there's like just enough Kubert in there to be a nice little homage, don't y'all think? Great use of silhouettes there too. And kind of conversely, you guys have to appreciate the artistry going on here so much. It just like, and once again with comics, when you don't just look at the panel, you look at the whole page, because your eye kind of takes it all in. So there's a lot going on there. I love the Freedom Fighters too. So much fun. Phantom Lady, another public domain character, perhaps, I'm sure, I think. Anyway, issue 2, bring it on. Notice the difference in the covers. Most of the panels are the same, but then, like, you know, the first panel here is Superman, Darkseid, Batman's here. You know, oh, I guess maybe it's chronological. That makes sense, right? See, how fun is that? I love Perez's art, pencils being reproduced there. That's what I'm saying. Same creative team intact. Marv Wolfman, writer. George Pérez, penciler. Karl Kesel, inker. Bill Ray, colorist. Tom Zucchio, colorist. Oh, did Bill Ray color? No, it was all Tom Zucchio. So we got Bill Ray coming in. I wonder if we'll be able to notice the difference. I doubt it. So much fun. I love it. Like, these are like Young All-Stars characters. Remember the Young All-Stars? I think I might have done an issue of that if you want to look it up. Oh my god, how cool is this? Harbinger just sitting. Just the beauty of the Pérez art and the collage effect of this. This is just such a great design, and it's just so done well. And really digging the Karl Kesel inks. I think Karl Kesel did a great job. But it's funny, I definitely do see Karl Kesel's style. And I think that's just fine, because there's so many inkers that I really love. And, you know, a lot of inkers are artists in their own right and know how to draw and paint and color and letter. And so it only makes sense that they would have their own distinct style. It doesn't matter what level of art or what department, for lack of a better word, you're doing, whatever job you're doing on art, you know, you're going to bring an aesthetic, a certain style. You know, it's like you can tell someone by their letters or their colors or their inks or their dialogue, you know. That's what I love. The different voices that come together to make beautiful, fun, memorable, impactful comics. And now we're getting hardcore into the superhero history of the DC universe. I felt like the last one was more like the, you know, sort of like Old West, kind of mythic, magical kind of things. I don't know. But then we got Hippolyta. I hate, like, I've said it a million times before, and I feel like it might be canon now that Diana was created from clay. She should always be created from clay. That makes her unique. Very cool shot of Martian Manhunter. I'm like hit or miss on Martian Manhunter. I don't like hate him, but he's never been one of my favorites. But that is awesome by George Pérez, of course. Trigon. Oh my gosh. And then we get into these great, like, shots. It's so weird. Like, this is so great because Pérez did so many great, like, Batman covers, like A Lonely Place of Dying. I think it was the arc that he did, and it was definitely like more Pérez style. And I feel like this is definitely a little bit of a wink and a nod to Frank Miller, as much as like Pérez possibly can be, considering the distinct difference in their styles. And this is just beautiful. I mean, that's just like Christopher Reeve, just like bursting out of the page. This could easily be a panel or a scene from that movie, and that makes me happy. That's my Superman. I love that. I love incorporating the logo into the panel. That's amazing. This should be a t-shirt, a poster, anything you need it to be. This is like such classic Superman right there. That is like, although I do love Byrne's Superman too. It would have been interesting to see John Byrne illustrate this book, wouldn't it? Flash and Green Lantern and Atom and Hawkman, and I mean, this is like my classic JLA, like perfect lineup right here. Blue Beetle, interesting. Speaking of Charlton characters, like, so if they're not, like, if they, so supposedly they're all public domain. I feel like something like DC screwed up the copyright, or else it's just too long or something. I don't know, but maybe that's why we saw a Booster Gold and Blue Beetle title, so that they can just sort of put it out there. The Teen Titans. It's always fun to see Pérez draw like the old version of the Teen Titans. The original version of the Justice League of America. No women. No, not even Black Canary or Wonder Woman. Crazy. I mean, who are you going to harass and make inappropriate jokes about? Men. This is a great double page spread. I love it. Oh my gosh, Creeper. How fun is that? Metamorpho. Pérez draws such a great Metamorpho. I mean, he draws a great everybody. We've already established that, but this is honestly like the perfect book. I would love to see this in treasury size, artist edition, original pages. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. What a great panel there. I mean, how did Pérez just come off of like Crisis on Infinite Earths and just like swoop down and draw the frickin' hell out of this? This is amazing all over the place. I love this Big Barda and Mr. Miracle. Like, this is, I mean, come on. Another love letter to Kirby right here, of course. Kirby dots in effect. They will blow your mind. Doom Patrol, Brainiac. This is like my favorite version of Brainiac. And I think that Pérez actually had a hand in designing that, because I think he also designed the green and purple Lex Luthor like armor. Because Pérez was like one of the best costume designers. Especially if there was like metallic elements involved. Look at that. Like, come on. This is just Pérez. Like, okay, here I am. Like, I just have to draw millions of little circuitry thing. And then just give this great, like, impactful panel right here. So good. Black Lightning, Swamp Thing. Like, how amazing is that? That looks so cool. Firestorm. I feel like he may have designed Firestorm too, but I'm probably wrong on that one. I do feel there's a good chance he designed Firehawk's remake. I'm just have him designing everyone now. How fun is it to see Peacemaker? So if this is now I'm like dying to know, like, so if all the Charlton characters are public domain, what does that say for Peacemaker, even though DC just did like Peacemaker and stuff? So it's like, it's kind of weird though too, like how Winnie the Pooh is in public domain, which means that the original like Winnie the Pooh novel, like you can't do like, I don't know like if you can do like, you know, your version of what Disney's version of Pooh looks like per se. Because I feel like merchandising copyrights are still in effect. So, like, you definitely couldn't do merchandise based on the Disney aesthetic of Pooh. I don't know. It's interesting. The Disney aesthetic of Pooh. That should be a frickin' novel right there. Halo, one of the best costume designs ever. I would imagine Jim Aparo designed that when he co-created her for Batman and the Outsiders. Amethyst, how fun. It's so funny, like, okay, so if DC wants to reboot, then do it. And then just bring back all these versions of the characters. That would be kind of fun. They should do it, like, the next restart event should be called Just Kidding. Oh, yeah. It's called Just Kidding. And then it's like Crisis on Infinite Earths never happened. And then all the books just take off from whatever last issue happened before Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's your frickin' event right there. I didn't think I'd find the page, but here it is. Looker, Geoforce, Halo in her white costume. It always bothered me that she only had one boob there. I don't know who dropped the ball on that one. The Detroit Avengers. Philip, if you're watching, he hates that I love them so much. But I love them. The Global Guardians. See, if Marvel can make a movie of Guardians of the Galaxy, DC, you know how, like, they're always, like, trying to volley back and forth. Oh my god, James Gunn, way to troll DC, Marvel, Guardians, everybody. James Gunn next movie needs to be Global Guardians. I mean, and, like, everybody just needs to be here in these costumes, because that would be freaking the best. See, and this is, like, for no reason, even, I mean, Pérez was just, like, one of the best comic book artists ever. Like, you know, you can look at a modern comic book and not get backgrounds for days, and then you look at this one, and it's, like, there's every brick drawn in this panel of Super Power Girl. There's buildings drawn. You can totally tell that's Los Angeles. Like, there's buildings in background here. There's buildings at night here. There's a bird's eye view and 1 point perspective buildings here. I mean, what the hell? And then you just turn the corner, and then you've got this like beautiful grand design recreation of events from Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it is explosive and amazing, and wow. The legacy that George Pérez leaves behind is just staggering. And I am so grateful for it, for one. Look at these beautiful pages. So good. I love Lady Quark. She's so cool and fun. She's like Annie Lennox with blonde hair. And speaking of Infinity Inc., aren't they amazing? Like, bring them back. Where are they? Where are all these great characters and properties? Maybe I'm just stuck. I mean, it's not like they've been... I mean, every book is Batman now. You have all these, like, different characters, and every freaking book is Batman. It's ridiculous. Great shot of Wonder Woman. Things to come. Pérez's Wonder Woman, one of the best. I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is just... If he had done nothing else but this, like, he would be a legend. But he has touched every part of comic books in the best way possible, and we will always love and cherish our George Pérez. And then you have frickin' OMAC and Jonah Hex. For some strange reason, I loved Jonah Hex when I was little. I have no idea why. I mean, he's creepy. It was a Western. Like, what the hell? Legion of Superheroes. I feel like that might be one book Pérez didn't put a big stamp on, but the times he has drawn them, staggering. I mean, he was obviously meant to draw any superhero. I don't think, like, there was no superhero that Pérez hasn't drawn well. It's such a great book. I'm so happy that we covered this. It is so beautiful. What a great memory. If you guys have never seen this before, it is totally worth seeking and finding and devouring the beautiful art of George Pérez, inked by Karl Kesel, History of the DC Universe, written by Marv Wolfman. Such a great book. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I'll bring you more soon.